Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Raleigh. It's an interesting place to start. I've been thinking about this a lot, and during February when I had COVID and wasn't able to really record, I decided that really the best place was to start with what I would call the basic parenting paradox. Now, I love paradoxes. I think what is probably the closest thing to absolute truth is found in a paradox. And so today we're looking at the most basic parenting paradox. And it isn't whether the coffee is good or not, actually. It's actually pretty good. But that's not the paradox. The real paradox is parenting all about the child or not? And the reason I say it is because indeed they rely on us. And this is one of the most sacred, important, and precious roles that we will ever play. The role of a parent, the most complex as well. But at the same time, it can't be all about the child. Because when we make it all about the child, we get wrapped up in their lives in a way that is unhealthy for them and for us. And so it's absolutely not all about the child. And so you can see this paradox. How do we delineate? How do we split this out? Well, I would propose that it's all about the child in that we want them to grow up healthy. We want them to grow up to be people that are functional and enjoy life and have a great relationships and a great life and a great career. The problem is that when we make it all about the child, we get focused on their behavior. It's scary to watch what they do, especially as they get into teenage years. Those teenage years are just unbelievably frightening for many of us. And even when it's not so frightening, there's still a lot of risk. Will they survive it? And, that's really scary for us parents. So we tend to get really focused on where they're at, who they're with, what they're doing, the choices they're making. That does not work. It's not healthy. It takes us straight into trying to control them. And so in reality, it's all about us. It's all about how we show up. It's all about what we're doing. It's all about the way that we think about things. Now, internal development, external focus. Let's talk about that. When we're focusing on their safety, their choices, who they're with, what they're doing, we're externally oriented. That's a short game of parenting. It doesn't work. But when we understand the internal development and the internal growth of our child, now that's a long game. I would say that is the long game is where we want to be with our children. That's the appropriate focus. But it can't be all about that because how we show up is probably the most crucial factor in that internal development. Are we regulated? Can we show up when they're in distress in a calm, supportive way? When they do stupid things, when they make choices that scare us, can we show up in a loving, supportive way? I still believe in you in spite of these incredibly crazy choices you're making. Right? That's what adolescence does. I mean, in many cases, they're making choices that bother us, that scare us, that we're not even sure they're going to survive. But we cannot afford to get focused on that. It cannot be all about the child. Furthermore, when we make it all about the child, we end up in a position of powerlessness. We can't control them. They don't like it. This is what Adam Price calls the paradoxical response. You'll hear me refer to that over and over again. It doesn't work. And consequences. That's another big myth. It's really all about how we show up. What are we doing to show up in a positive way? So I hope that you can see this paradox. And I hope that you can kind of come with me down the lane that says, yeah, it's all about their long-term development, which means it's really not all about them. It's all about us and how we show up. That's our position of power. That's what we can do to really influence their internal development. And that is the best way to make it all about my child. Now, thanks for joining me. Hope your coffee is as good as mine. Bye now.